rare earth refining and 90% of rare earth magnet production. It controls 99% of global gallium refining, which is a key material for advanced microelectronics used in U.S. defense systems. This is a real concern because, as you know, in April, China imposed export restrictions on 7 of 17 rare earths, many of which are essential for U.S. defense platforms, such as the F-35 fighter, which contains 920-plus pounds of rare earths per unit, Tomahawk cruise missiles, and joint direct attack munition smart bombs. U.S. defense firms such as Raytheon, Honeywell, Lockheed Martin face supply delays, rising costs, and potential production halts. So breaking China's chokehold on these critical mineral supply chains will require more domestic production. Senator Manchin, you know this well. The Department of Energy estimates that recoverable coal, coal ash, and coal waste in the United States contains between 11 and 17 million metric tons of rare earth elements. U.S. consumption last year was just 8,800 metric tons. So we're talking about a domestic resource of rare earths that contains over 1,000 times our annual demand for rare earths. Given that scale, Senator Manchin, wouldn't it be a strategic failure not to include coal-based mineral recovery from West Virginia, Kentucky, Wyoming, Pennsylvania, across this great fruited plain as a core pillar of our national critical mineral policy?
Well, thank you. And I think both of our respective states, both of our universities are working very closely on this now as far as extraction from our waste, from our coal finds, things of that sort, and also water coming from coal mines. All that stuff can be turned into a tremendous value for our country. And we're looking at that too, and the cost of that versus with some new mining. I just said earlier that I'm involved with a company called Ramaco, basically, who's coal mining. They're going to open a new coal mine in Wyoming, first one in 70 years. And with that, in the bindings, as people know, layers between the coal, there's an awful lot of critical minerals in that too, which is a great opportunity for us. So I think in all of this, we have to do everything that we can. The bottom line is that we can't make it more difficult for companies in the U.S. through the permitting constraints that happen for us to do what we need to do. If we can get that accelerated, that's going to help us tremendously on that. And I think there's a lot of inroads being made.
Yeah, and I've introduced a bill that would help my constituent company you referred to, Ramaco, expedite the permitting there. I know you were a real leader in reforming federal permitting laws, but they're in the Senate. But there's more work to be done there. I do have a bill called the Rescue Act, which I would urge my colleagues to support, which would use that Fast 41 streamlining process for streamlined permitting for rare earth extraction from coal. I think that's important. But also, Senator Manchin, speak to the potential of using the Defense Production Act. I don't know if you've thought about that, the Defense Production Act, to cut through all this red tape to allow for coal mining or extraction of rare earths from coal.
I definitely have been speaking about Defense Production Act. I think it's the one tool that shows the urgency that we have in our country to defend ourselves and be able to help our allies. The other thing is the permitting process. Congressman Westerman and I worked very, very hard and very close and got very close last year, right down to the final bell when the bell rang. There's a piece of legislation I think that you all could take and run with very quickly. We passed it in the Senate. It came out of our committee, basically 15-4, first time, a bipartisan overhaul, working with Senator John Barrasso, our Republican and Democrat colleagues, seeing the need for this. Hopefully you all can take it and make some changes if you need, whatever would be helpful. Judicial reform was the big thing in permitting. The courts will hold you up no matter what you try to do. The courts can hold you up for infinity and just wear you out price-wise.
That's why we might need to cut through that with the Defense Production Act.
Well, I hope you can.
Thank you for your leadership on that. Mr. Fannin, let me just ask you real quick. You answered Mr. Moylan's question well on the potency of DFC in alternative critical mineral supply chains. What about the Office of Strategic Capital at the Department of Defense, also supplementing the catalytic opportunities for supply chain resiliency outside of the United States?
I think it's an incredible tool that hasn't really been utilized yet. I think it's time to get that tool out of the toolbox and start using it. I would also say one of the construct of the OSC is it's only debt. It only provides debt. I think that we talked about fixing the equity fix in the DFC. I would propose respectfully that you consider OSC have some equity authority as well. It makes all the sense in the world. There is a huge level of dry powder there, and also they need help getting that organization up and running and really moving forward. But it's an amazing tool that needs to be used.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. I yield back.
Thank you. I now recognize the gentleman from Montana, Mr. Downing, for 5 minutes of